get in my car and there's a monster moth in here. Mothra just decided my car was the one to hang out in, I guess. Yeah, Cherryville Public Library in Kansas is apparently the happening place for kids. It's crazy. Haven't seen that since like before the internet. Kind of cool though, in a way. Moved under the trees. Here in the front part of the house. Get some shade now that the sun's starting to bear down. Okay, there is some really fucking crazy wind. I feel like I'm on a boat. God damn! It is blowing so hard. God. This is crazy. What the hell? Both the cats are on the floor like, what is happening? It's a fucking crawdad. Okay. That thing is lost. Continued testing this thing because I really only did it for like a day or two for the first video. These lights are about to burn out, so I've moved it over. Today's temp is 54. It's daytime. And I started with it being 58 in here, and now it's 62. So it seems like today I am getting some results from this. Now, I've had it burning for longer than 2 or 3 hours. So maybe the radiant heat coming off this pot makes a difference beyond the 2 or 3 hour point with my particular RV. Not entirely sure. So this actually seems to have helped a tad, putting the fan back there, because all the heat that's emanating off this whole ridiculous setup is it's blowing it this way, so that seems to help a bit. Still not enough to keep the rig warm, so I'm still going to call this a fail, but I wanted to put it through the runs. I've pretty much almost taken out all my tea lights, testing it out, just trying to find a way to make this work, but it's just not. Oh, sorting books to give it to the library. I've already started running them up there. But yeah, this isn't going to work. Maybe supplemental, but there's going to have to be a primary heating source, and this is just additional heat. But could go bigger fire, bigger pots, or something like that, maybe. But I just don't see the point. At that point, I might as well just get a wood burning stove. So It was a cheap little test. It's been about a week and a half to 2 weeks of me messing around, so I'm gonna go back and start working with this guy. Well, actually I'm gonna focus on the AC thing first because summer's coming. But for me, not a whole lot. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that exactly. A PA position opened up in Singles, which is the department where I used to work. And, well, they told me it's like a low-level manager, the equivalent of like a staff sergeant, I guess you could say. Alright, getting ready to make one of those 5-gallon air conditioner cooler things. Found it on YouTube. Guy made one. He lives in Arizona. I guess it's a variation on the swamp cooler. Here's the tools of the trade. 5-gallon bucket and lid from Walmart. Scissors. DC clip-on fan from Walmart.
drill. Work for NCI for 5 years. They give you a $50 drill or some other thing. I chose the drill. Drill bit. My mitts. Instead of me explaining how to build this thing, I'm just going to put a link. Here, a link. So that way you can see how the guy did it himself. And I'm just going to show you once I got it done. Got the 5-gallon bucket AC. I mean, it really does blow cold air out. But I don't think it's going to be enough to keep the RV cool. I mean, it feels good. The one I saw online had the holes kind of all drilled on one side to force air one direction. I was thinking placing it in the center and then having holes all the way around to evenly distribute it, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Right now, temperature is 82 in here, and I mean, I just flipped it on, but it's most definitely not going to be enough. Now, the bucket was cheap, so I might get a second one and then just put a couple holes on the one side, so that way it forces the air out onto me while I sleep, and I'll just put it up there while I sleep. It doesn't really help for keeping the air down in here during the day, but I don't know, I'm gonna let it run for a little bit and just see what happens. Side note, I originally did this with ice, and then I realized it was kicking too much moisture up, so I just took these 2-liter bottles, filled them with water, and froze those instead. That way it won't add moisture to the air, because it's already humid enough in Kansas. Yes, my hair is gone. One thing I'd also like to point out, though, that I didn't mention off the screen is my computer. I'm pointing at it like you know what the fuck I'm pointing at. When the ice melts, it kicks out more moisture into the air. Well, when you use those 2-liter bottles of water, the inverse happens. The moisture in the air gets blown in by the fan, and then the moisture in the air is attracted to the cold of those 2-liter bottles, and so water pools in the bottom of the bucket. So you actually have to empty the bucket out from time to time. So instead of having moisture as the ice melts blown into your RV, you're actually sucking moisture out. So depending on your situation, that can be good or bad. Thought I'd point that out. You may see I'm in a basement right now. Some changes coming. So here's the room I'm cleaning out. I just set off a bug bomb in it a few hours earlier. All kinds of dead spiders, like this guy. To give you a gauge about how big he is. That's my finger right next to him. And then, looks like a brown recluse. I cannot tell if it's dead or not. Well, he wasn't dead. He is now, but... Another brown recluse. Yep, violin on the back. Time to die. Should use my glove hand. Sleeping, and came across that. Black Widow? I mean, I've never actually seen one before. Obviously it's dead. It's got the red mark. I guess it is. Oh, I got some work to do down here. Shit. 2 brown recluses, 1 black widow. I'm gonna have some good bunkmates down here. I got this place lit up like the fucking 4th of July. I'm going to be adding more lights down here and just leaving them on for like a week before I come actually move in. Okay, I'm moving into the room. I'm still cleaning up everything. I got some spray. I actually had one I found down here. I didn't have to buy a new one, but that one's supposed to kill spiders and bugs for up to 6 months. This one's 12. And I've been going along all the corners and killing all that stuff off. I've left these lights on for a day or two now. And it seems like nothing else is coming in, which is normal because I've also left the stereo on. So noise, light, spiders don't really, spiders in particular, but everything else tries to stay away from that because I'm obviously moving in. So I'm going to be cleaning all this stuff up, but secondarily, I'm looking at making it slightly more homey than just a basement room. So I'm probably going to paint the walls white. He said I could go ahead and do that. Put a layer of kills. Oh, it looks like they've already done it, but back whenever it flooded, there was some mold, and he's already bleached and killed it, but it's still there, so I'm going to kills over it and seal it in. And then I'm going to look at making this slightly more homey for the duration of time that I'm in here and working on my RV. I'm not looking to spend a whole lot of money. I figure paint and a few other little things will make this place just less of a dank basement and more of a living space, but that's what I'm doing for now. The other thing I got to keep, like I'm using my camping gear, but the other thing I got to keep in mind is while they have a sump pump, it has gone out before in the past, which is why the basement had flooded, and there's potential for it to do it again. So I don't want to get stuff that isn't at least 4 inches off the floor. So everything that I do, I have to gear towards the potential of flooding. Like this light, everything's up off the floor. But this is actually the light switch, and that's there. So I'm actually going to put the screws in the wall and mount that up, so that way if it does flood, it doesn't pop the circuit breakers and electrocute me if I step in the water or something awful. So that's what I'm working on. Gotta figure out some way to make this floor not look so basement-ish. Wow.